In November 2019, the Supreme Court affirmed the disqualification of the APC governorship candidate who was at the time the governor-elect in Bayelsa State, David Lyon, on the grounds that his deputy, who at the time was also his running mate, talking about Bioborokuma Degi Eremiyon, presented forged credentials to INEC. The grounds for that disqualification was that both presented themselves as a joint candidate under the APC. Subsequently, the PDP candidate, who at the time had the highest vote cast, was sworn in as the governor-elect of Bayelsa State. That singular action and several others has opened a floodgate for conversation as it relates to how and what candidates participating or aspirants participating in an election present documents, particularly their educational qualification. At the time, the Supreme Court held that the judgment given by a lower court on the grounds that the names on the primary school living certificate, the first degree, and the master's degree of Bioborokuma Eremiyon, there was no tally. And on that ground, the Supreme Court, led by Honorable Justice Mary Odili, affirmed the decision of the lower court, even though the appeal court had overturned the decision earlier. In the last few days, we've been enamored by the conversation around the qualification documentation of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That matter is still pending in court. But today on the program, we'll be looking at the issue of political aspirations and educational qualifications. What can the political parties do to avoid a situation where their candidates' credentials, especially their educational qualification, when presented in court, will not be a ground for them to be kicked out? More so, we move forward towards the 2024 Edo State governorship election. This should be something that all the political parties that intend to feed a candidate should look at critically. In the last dispensation of elections that brought in the governor of Edo State, that became a turning issue too, as questions were asked over and over again as to the qualification, the authenticity of the documents presented. What can the political parties do to checkmate this? Even the umpire, talking about INEC, what can they do to ensure that we move away from this very seemingly embarrassing situation that is beginning to make us a laughing stock even in the international community? My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. Welcome on board the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. It's a simulcast, which means if you're following us on radio, you can also be part of the program. As usual, our studio line will be open so you can also call and make your contributions to the conversation. Joining us today, we have in the studio the Executive Director, People's Defender Advocate, is a veteran civil society activist, Bishop Osadolo Ochie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. God bless you, listeners and viewers at home.
And also joining us from Lagos is a political and public affairs analyst and commentator. I'd like to thank very especially Bob Manuel Umoru. Bob Manuel, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Edo people, and good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's begin from the studio where Bishop is right here with me. We've seen this as a recurring decimal where political parties present candidates. They always have that opportunity to do a thorough job before these candidates are presented or are accepted. But it looks like this challenge that we're having where candidates are having problem with their educational qualification in terms of their documentation and certification is probably because the political parties are not doing enough. Let's take it off from there.
You see, the problem we have is the law that enable INEC to function. One, the Electoral Act as amended 2022 have removed a lot of things. Before 2022 amendment, if you are going to aspire into any office, they say you must have 3 years tax clearance, paid as and when due. It must not be paid in arrears. So if you did not pay it as and when due, INEC will disqualify you. Now, that time, we have a minimum qualification of school certificate or its equivalent.
For the presidential?
For all positions.
Okay.
Even before then,
okay.
It was for governor to councillor and all the other ones. The presidential election was supposed to be a degree before the amendment. The amendment came as a result of one man that could not present a school certificate in 2015. And laws in Nigeria are made to suit a particular person because of selfish interests. And that is why politicians then were telling us that even if the man bring NEPA bill as certificate, that is the choice they want. you had it. Now, they have gone so far now to ensure that what you need now is ability to read and write, not a certificate. I wonder how somebody who can read and write will become the chief principal officer of a nation, and somebody who wants to aspire to be a civil servant will be asked to possess a degree. How will that country run? So it's all about the laws, the amendments that is bringing us to where we are now. Like I look at all the ranting on papers and all by Atiku going to court to challenge Chicago certificate. It is a case that died before they started. The reason is that Nigeria is a sovereign nation, an independent country. America is a sovereign nation and an independent country. Number one. Number two, that case is a pre-election matter. Pre-election in the sense that if you have anything against your opponent, you should go to court before the election to bring out that fault so that such person should be disqualified by the court. But before this new electoral act, they were using it as jamboree or going to see INEC and say, Johnny Duke stole my goat, disqualify him for me. And INEC will disqualify the person. They will say, okay, if you are not satisfied, go to court. Before you will finish from court, election have come and gone, winner have emerged. Then there is no room for you again. Then they amended it that even if they have sworn you in and somebody go to court to challenge you and they win, they will remove the person and put the person. Like in the case of Rotimi and Sylvester Mayor or whatever in Rivers. Even a local government here. But this amendment is creating more problem. They have gone to the extent now that if two of us are not from the same party and we did not contest the same position, nobody from party B has right to file action against any of us that are from party A that we are not qualified or that I'm not qualified.
It has to be from the same political party.
It has to be from the same party. Selfish interests. So these are the amendments that are giving room to all these things we are seeing. So it's not the judge. You see, because they didn't look at the law before they begin to say all eyes are on the judiciary. No, all eyes should be on the law.
Not on the judiciary.
Not on the judiciary. Because it's what the judiciary saw that they are going to rely on to give their judgment.
Okay.
So if the election says that if you must challenge somebody's qualification and you must do it before the election, you have no right to institute it after the election when a winner have emerged.
Okay.
Number 3, if you also want to institute an action, you start from the first court. Supreme Court is not a place you call witness or you file additional evidence. You don't. You only go to Supreme Court to say the lower court erred
in their judgment.
In their judgment.
Or their decision.
And their decision, you now bring up the areas by which you feel they erred. And you now profile that this is how it ought to have been according to this law. Not after appeal court have given judgment. You are not going to Chicago to say you get a judgment and we are filing additional evidence. It will not hold water.
Okay.
It died on arrival.
All right. We'll get back there in a moment. Let's get you to ventilate your views on these issues that we're highlighting. Bob Manuel Umoru, quickly. Yeah.
Okay, I was actually struggling to hear.
Okay, to follow up. Yes, let me give you a lead.
Okay.
The question is that it looks as though political parties should be held responsible for the shortcomings in the candidates that they present to run for any political office. You should expect that they should have done their thorough jobs before presenting a candidate. It looks like that is not the case. And that seems to be, we have avalanche of cases where either opposition candidates or other candidates within the political parties will have grounds to challenge the nomination of a particular candidate for an elective position on the grounds of maybe lack of proper education or fictitious certificate, as the case may be.
Well, I will agree with your question, sir. And,
okay.
I think every Edo citizen, every Nigerian should always have someone to hold responsible when things go wrong. In this case, you are presenting a candidate with a fraudulent or a not clear source of certificate to the public for public governance. The person who has brought that person to that seat or the vehicle with which that person has gotten to where he or she found herself should be held responsible for that mishap. I would agree that political parties should be held responsible for any of these show of shame. As today's case is, that of the president, it's not just an APC shame, it's not a PDP shame, it's not just a Nigerian shame, it's a continental and global shame. Because the image and reputation of our country that was already stabbed and is bleeding profusely has not been brought to the table again. So now I said I want to contest for an election. The party has its modalities. They have rules of engagement for anyone to emerge the flag bearer of a party. So if you are going to market a product in the market, you must ensure that it passes through all the stages of refinement for it to be catchy in the eyes. Now you brought the product to the market, and then there are loopholes, there are lapses, or there are dents on the image of the product. It goes back to show that you either didn't farm well or something is wrong in your factory. Yes, we cannot lay the blame of a candidate with a faulty certificate on the nation or her people. We lay it on the party that projected such a person. It shows the content of the character of those who are in charge of the control of the party as at the time such a person was filed for election. Today in Nigeria, we have people who are more interested about their pocket, about their personal interest, than the general public good. And for me, as a person, politics is not just being loyal to your party. You must first be loyal to the nation or the state before coming to be loyal to your party. Because the essence of all of us getting involved in politics is for governance. The essence of going into governance is for the advancement of our people and the advancement of our society. However, in doing that, we've got to bring the best of minds through a process that is devoid of fraud. Now, I will want to also say that there are lapses in everything we do as a nation. Hence, the policies of government is to ensure that these lapses are curtailed or smoothened to the best, so that we do not have each of these lapses bringing national shame upon us. What do I mean? Now we have INEC, we have political parties. INEC interface or interact with the political parties to project candidates or finally file candidates for election. Now, if there is a process, INEC has many departments. What is wrong if there is a clause in the constitution of every political party or in the constitution of the electoral act, so to say, that before you can come out for election, because we are not making the qualification of a thing, we are making it more important than the candidate itself. So if we are going to pay attention, because the constitution said you should have SSCE to contest any of the position, especially for the position of the president, that as low as SSCE, it has not been reviewed. Now, if we are to go by qualification, because, okay, times have advanced, and so people are to advance with the time, there should also be legislation to empower the electoral act that before I can come out to vie for a position, the party should do their job to ensure that they have scrutinized me before filing me for election. And if they have done that, INEC is a national body or a national parastatal. I would call it a parastatal on its own. INEC has all the powers, has all the constitutional rights by the Freedom of Information Bill to write to any organization to inquire. Nothing is wrong if INEC has a lead in all the institutions in Nigeria to verify anybody before the person can contest. INEC also should reserve the right to sack anybody or to reject the name of anybody on XYZ ground.
Okay.
How be it, there is lacuna in our constitution, and also there is also a very big lacuna in the attitudes of those governing major parties in Nigeria. Why? Because personal interests come before public interest. The party could do their own scrutiny well before submitting any name for it. And when the party fails to do such, then it's just like a father or a mother not training the child, and the child becomes a societal problem. You don't blame the society for what that child become, but you first blame the parent for not offering their primary responsibility of training the child in the way he should go before the child now became a public menace. Perhaps the public contributed to whatever he has become. But of course, charity must begin at home.
Absolutely.
So if, for example, the PDP is filing anybody and the person then is dented, the PDP should be held responsible, to be blamed for not having a clear-cut vision of who they want to present to govern the society. And I will not be unfair. Let's be sincere. This issue of this certificate did not start today. It started back from 1999. And we've been joking with it as a nation. All through the process of 1990, it is about 24 years. It's enough and good enough for us to have a refined process for electioneering. But every day it seems we are deteriorating, we are trying, failing, we succeed, we fail, among others. So it shouldn't be a volatile system. It shouldn't be a climbing and coming down system. It should be a steady process. Look at Salisu Buhari. He became the Speaker of the Federal House of Reps before he was dogged and knew that this man came with a fraudulent certificate. Then you look at the issue of Bayelsa. Look at every other ones. But again, you now approach the court. What I will look at as pseudo justice, or perhaps you let them have justice, is what every case turned out to be. Because in the end, you go to the court is tied. The court will now tell you these are pre-election matters. The one that led to the sack of the Bayelsa governor was because there was a pre-election case. If there was no pre-election case on that matter, the guy would have perhaps been going to contest for his second tenure by now. I'm not looking at option.
Yes.
But thank God the court was able to nip that in the bud to say, oh, there was a matter before you started contesting.
Yes.
That matter should be addressed.
Yes.
It was addressed and it got to the highest and justice was delivered.
Okay.
So I think political parties should shake up. They should wake up. They should have a new thinking. Our problems are new. There should be a new way of solving this problem. And not just greed or my person should go, my person should go. Okay. We have passed this stage.
All right.
So I agree with you.
All right. Thank you very much. That's a very lengthy one, but very thought-provoking, Bob Manuel Umoru. He blamed these issues squarely on the shoulders of the political parties, which is something you felt wasn't the case. But if you look at politicians today, at least let's say from 1999 till date, which is about 24 years or thereabout, this problem has become more rampant. This forged certificate, forged document, and all of that. In fact, one of the ministers, that's the Minister of Aviation, was quoted as saying that once you forge documents, that's already a ground for disqualification. Forged document is tantamount to disqualification.
It's a criminal offense.
Now, when you make a comparison between what we have today and then pre-1999, as it were, it wasn't as rampant as this. I mean, you talk about the likes of Professor Ambrose Ali, of blessed memory, former governor of Edo State, or then Bender State. We talk about the likes of Chief Abafemi Awor and the rest of them. We never had this kind of scenario. Why is it so rampant today?
Yes, that time they were looking for characters, the political parties. They were looking for men with integrity.
Am I responding, sir?
No, I'll come to you, Bob Manuel.
They were looking for men with integrity.
Yes.
But today, the parties are looking for men who have the money. So if they are looking for men who have the money to sponsor a political party, they can go for anybody that is a criminal. Before now, party is supreme. It's the members of the party that sponsor party. Mm-hmm. They have a monthly due card as a member of a party. You pay due every month from your ward, your local government. So for you to hold any position, they look at your financial contribution. And that gives them the power to say, Governor, stand up here. We put you as a governor. This thing we have observed, that is not what our constitution says. That is not our manifesto. But today, the governor, the chairman of local government, the president, they are lords. As soon as they enter, they become lord over the people that put them there. The governor today can sack the chairman, sack everybody, or the president. But in the beginning, the Bible says it was not so. So if where they have found themselves is that the party is looking for the man who has the money, by the time they bring a criminal or man that went to forge, Wale, they call it that time, Oluwole certificate, and a merge, they still have the money to defend it. And that's why they were amending the Constitution and the Electoral Act to suit their purpose. It was in this state that they made a law of Land Use Act because of somebody, and quoted the name. Am I right?
And the law died in natural death.
The law died. Are you hearing? So the thing is, when we went to court,
yes,
we
to challenge it.
To challenge it. One was that law is captured by the Nigerian Constitution. It's not a state matter. That local government should collect tenement rate. So we challenged it and we won the case.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So we have been a civil society practitioner. We have been engaging the government in so many areas we find fault to correct them. So it is about the characters. Nigerians are not ready to look for a man with impeccable character, a man that has integrity. They are not. If you say you are going to contest, the first thing they ask you, how many billion, how much zillion do you have in your account? Politics is expensive.
Okay, let me pause you there. Yeah, but Mara, I know you wanted to respond to the issue that I raised earlier, making a comparison between what used to be in the past, pre-1999, and then post-1999 as it relates to political aspirations and educational qualifications, and then the roles that political parties are playing?
It's a clear thing. Those from 1960 proud to the period before 1999 were men of character, men of no mean means, men who were groomed with the best of information and education, men who stayed glued to national interest than personal interest. Yes, they had their little flaw of disagreement here and here, but when you look at what they were disagreeing upon, it was a competition to commit and also to contribute for national growth and development. But back to the period of 1990 dates, are men of easy virtue, men who are in politics how do I put it now? To hunt and harvest for personal interest first, before the interest of their circle, and before thinking of committing a little to the community that they said they want to represent or govern. In the period of Bafemi Awolowo and the rest of them, it was difficult for Zik to come and challenge Awolowo's qualification. Same way Awolowo to challenge Zik, because why? They knew each other. They knew where they were coming from. They had different school of thought. And all the thoughts that they gathered was for national advancement, national integration, national growth, national development, that Nigeria should be a nation that 50 years after they can be proud of. That was why they were competing. They were all competing for governance, to bring the best of governance to bear. Then this issue of disagreement today, disagreement tomorrow, ethnicity and all the rest played a very little on the center stage of our politics. But from 1990 date, where we glorify ethnicity, religion, tribes, we glorify class and all the rest of it. In the time of Awolowo, the poorest of the poor were sitting on the table of decision with them. As long as there is something upstairs for you to bring to the table, you are on that table. But today, if your father is not a former senator, a former governor, and a former this, you can't be in that circle. And so, bringing up issues that have to do with society becomes a lot of difficulty for us to think about the society. The men we produced from 1990 day are men from good parents, but very bad upbringing, in the sense that they compromised. They compromised along the way line. Now there are two generations that have been traveling from 1960 to date. The generation with a good upbringing and the generation with a compromised upbringing. And so these two generations have still been at loggerhead even to date. So when we now look at the issue of certificate now becoming the center stage of our polity, it is because men are now more desperate to be in power at all costs than being desperate to say, let the best be given to the society. So it has to do with issue of character and nothing more. Else, what would make me want to kill myself at all costs to defraud a full nation, a full state, with a certificate I never labored for, with a knowledge I never acquired, if not for greed or filthy lucre? If not for that, what would make me want to do that? So it has been the issue of character. And let me tell you, generation past, generation present, and generations to come, we continue to have the war of character until we begin to shape this nation and know that this nation, the growth of this nation is not about my personal growth or my personal wish, that it must be a collective effort. Then we will begin to run the circle of where we are expecting a different thing. But again, on the issue of certificate, we have to sit down. It should be more of a national comfort for us to look at the issue of qualification. Sir, with not being biased, I have seen men that are more educated than, that are sound than many of us who thought we went through schools.
Okay.
Many of them never had the opportunity to get most of the degrees that we have.
Okay.
Maybe your BSc, your masters, your doctorate, they never had. But when you see them talk, when you see them bring idea about nation building, you begin to ask, it's like, I've not started reading, I've not started researching.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them acquire this information through travels, through interacting with people, through reading books or searching for knowledge. Mm-hmm. But then they never had the opportunity to advance.
Okay.
I once met a man who had just ordinary SSE, but if you see what this man is throwing off, when I visited his house, I saw his library, I was marveled.
Okay.
And that alone spurred me to begin to search for more information.
Okay.
So we have to put aside our personal interest that this is what I want, to look at what does Nigeria really need? What can we do to better the lots of us? So it has been the issue of character. You cannot give what you don't have.
Absolutely.
And hence, this quest for forging and forging and forging. Sir, I will shock you today. If we run through the Senate, we run through the House of Assembly in Edo State, we run through the House of Reps, I can boldly tell the nation today that 75% of the certificate tenders are forged. So until we begin to downplay on many things that have to do with our individuality, we are going to sink our state and sink our nation. Enough of personal interest. Let us sink personal interest. Let us elevate togetherness. Let us elevate the spirit of unity for national beauty. That is when the generation unborn that are coming behind will not lay curse on the generation past. Okay,
thank you so much, Bob Manuel Moro. We are not suggesting here that that certainly will be a post-election matter, if you permit me. Those who have had the opportunity to be in public office, whether at the State House of Assembly, the House of Representatives, or even at the Senate, I mean, they passed that stage, as it were. But we're looking at, we're looking at a situation wherein going forward, what should be the model, what should be the style, what should be the system and the structure put in place to ensure that when political parties field any candidate, that such a candidate must come clean. Yes, we know nobody is perfect. That's true. There's nobody that is perfect out there. But we're looking at the modicum of, benchmarks, standards that we're supposed to follow to ensure that whoever comes out for an elected position will be somebody that will not be found wanting in this mess of certificate forgery. I mean, look at the incident. I mean, he just talked about a former speaker, Salisu, what's his name, that was, made speaker of, that was made speaker of the House of Representatives. What led to his removal? Because he forged certificate. But don't you think this is also a fallout of the education system that we have, Bishop Osadoloche?
Thank you very, very much. My brother has spoken very, very well. First, Sonny Duke, if I'm a thief and you are a thief, and two of us know we are criminals, and they say we should amend the Constitution that a criminal should not be sent to prison. I mean, a criminal should be sent to prison. How do you think we will feel when we are going to write that Constitution or that law? We will find a way to protect ourselves, two of us. So, Nigeria Constitution is a fraud from day one. Read the chapter. We, the people of Nigeria, gave to ourselves this Constitution. Who are the we that gave it to ourselves? First line, first chapter. So, Nigeria is founded on fraud and deceit. That is why only those who can tell lies, who can destroy person's character, can always find their way in governance in Nigeria. In the public service, they get promotion. Now, I've told you that before 1998, this clause was there. If you find any fault in any other candidate, whether you are from that party or not from that party, you present it to INEC. INEC will go and verify and disqualify the person. On that again, they start adding lie to truth. Then they went to court. Court now gave judgment that the only person who can disqualify somebody is court, not INEC. So whatever political party bring whoever they present, INEC have no authority whatsoever to disqualify you. Like Bob Emmanuel said just now, it ought to have been the duty of the political party presenting the candidate to properly scrutinize the candidates and know that they are presenting the best of the best, that no any other person will query. But the issue of money comes in. How much did you have to contest this election? There are a lot of my friends who are lawyers who don't know me. They call me cancer. Barrister Harnas, I'm not a barrister. I'm only a human rights activist. But I develop interest to read law. You understand?
To understand the law and its application.
Application.
Yeah.
Now, I never went to any university anywhere in this world. I never entered any four corner of a hall called university. I never. But I read from home in London School of Journalism by correspondence in 1978-79, stroke early 80. I don't know my teacher. My teacher don't know me. Your duty is they bring you questions. You must answer it. If you fail, they return it back to you again repeat. So life is about interest. There are a lot of persons who have the best certificate, original certificate, not forged, from our Nigerian universities, but they never enter class one day. There are a lot of lawyers who are in America, in London. They are students in ECPOMA. They never entered ECPOMA one day. Or any other university, Uniben or whatever in Nigeria. And how will such person practice? We see them when we are handling cases as human rights activists. When they talk, I will ask them, are you sure you are a lawyer? I thank God that the Nigerian University Commission cancelled this part-time law, because the Nigerian Bar Association have to pressurize them that what they are not getting is an insult from people who never entered class. So there are very many there. It's not a fake certificate. It was issued by the board, governing board of the university, signed, stamped and sealed. But the person does not know what the certificate
means. This is a general problem, not restricted to any university.
No, that's why I say the Nigerian university.
Okay.
I only mentioned a few names. I concluded Nigerian university.
Okay.
So if these ones also become a senator or a president, how will they govern, or how do they make laws? They make law to protect that thing they know, that fraud they have committed. So if now somebody have gone to forge a certificate, and the law says, INEC, you have no right to disqualify the person except a court. And the law says the opponent from a different party cannot institute a case against him for disqualification except a person from his party. And the persons from his party are bought over. Those who want to challenge and say, I beg, let's leave this matter, we are one. We will give you this or give you that. Then who will rule us? The man that have NEPA certificate.
Okay. But Manuel, how do you think we can overcome this challenge, as it were? I mean, this problem has befallen us, and there must be a way out going forward. There must be a way out going forward. Someone mentioned earlier about the state of our educational system, which tends to be a breeding grounds for some of these certificates. Ordinarily, that would have been taken in its full stride, as it were. But we also have some Nigerians going abroad to forge certificates. I mean, like the one that has been trending in the last couple of days, like the Salihu, certificate forgery that also led to his removal from office, as it were. Let's get your take on this before we open our studio line. Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to say that there are two certificates parading the Nigerian society: the Nigerian certificate and the imported certificate. Now, for us to curb all of this, if we can curb that of our nation, which is not even a problem, how do we deal with the ones coming from overseas? These are the major challenges. Now, I'll give you an example. The issue of the sitting president. You remember in 2020, I did a video. I took the sitting president to the cleaners. And in the process of 2022-2023, I was asked who I think was the best among them. I said, well, by capacity and intellectual deposit and by knowledge, I think Asiwaju has it. But it has not erased him from all his past heinous political and economic crimes. Now, there is a twist on the matter. The Chicago State University said, because there are two Asiwajus there, one is a male and the other one is female, and the other one, the female is gone, but the male is still alive. Yes, agreed that the male graduated, but the certificate that was sent out to INEC was not printed by them. It becomes an issue. Now there is an agreement that, okay, it's our product, but this paper is not genuinely from us.
Okay.
That is another issue that the nation will look into. But if it is on the issue of the educational system in Nigeria, yes, I would say that our higher institutions are glorified kindergarten college centers. So to say, the educational system on a daily basis is fast drifting down the pit, starting from Edo State to other states. Now, for us to curb this certificate forgery, first, there is need for mental shift. It has to do not just on the political line now. People are desperate and much about personal interest. The pressure is becoming high for everybody to say, I am rich, I am in the class of the rich and all XYZ, including in the higher institution. I passed through the Ambrose Allen University. I know the rot there. I was in the student unionism for years. I know the roads across the nation. Where students don't come to school, exams are written, they don't write the exam. But when you go to the board, you see the same students who never turned up for tests, for continuous assessment, for exams. You see them with AIDS. And then these ones are going to the market to go and represent the nation or to serve the nation. That is that. I've also been in the system where I know, during the tenure of President Goodluck Jonathan, I know when certificate was forged for certain persons who never sat for JAMB, never had WAEC. But of course, like I said, we have the issue of dealing with those who never went to school and then they are sound. And then those persons had certificate to present of not just AAU, but many institutions in Nigeria here. So going back, it has to do with the issue of discipline. There should be state sanction. We have to go back to address this issue via a constitutional review. And I will tell you the truth, if we lay this thing before the National Assembly, it won't pass the first reading because many of them are...
That's the issue. That's the issue.
That we are complaining about. So we have to subject it to a delegated legislation of people who will not be in the State House of Assembly, are not members of political parties or card-carrying members, but they are not just in the academics, but they are in the society. We can bring them together and say, come, let us address the issue of education in Nigeria. In addressing the issue of education, you have solved 50% of our problems first, because it is education that informed us or deformed us if we don't have it. Now, after dealing with the school, there should be a level playing ground for even the school themselves to be scrutinized. I will give you another point. From the Ministry of Education, when it's time for accreditation, they just come, they don't check whether these things are available or they are not available. They take money and they leave. So why do you think that a vice chancellor that gives you money to force you to accredit when they are not qualified will not also take money from a politician who is an intellectual hollow and present a certificate for him to go and win an election, so that it now becomes a microfinance or a commercial bank where you just go every day and withdraw. And that is the reason why this thing is still going. So when there are stiffer sanctions and 1, 2, or 3 are taken as scapegoats and dealt with, it will be nice. Then on the political party side, if I am the state chairman, for example, and then it's easy to even curb it in the political party because, for example, the 2024 election process has begun. By the time 20 persons buy phone, it's easy to get in touch with 20 different institutions, or you will even discover that 2 to 3 of them are from the same institution. You don't need any other thing. You just need a process that is clean. You need people with sincerity. Write to this institution, XYZ has submitted XYZ certificate. Is this person a product of your school? Or you send the candidate, before you contest the election, the certificate you are bringing, go and get an approval from the school, showing that you are a product of that school. And when the school agree, they bring that becomes an evidence.
Yes.
If you now, the opposition now goes to court and say this certificate was forged, and the law look into it, the justices agreed that it was forged, then you don't not punish the candidate alone, you punish the institution, the heads of the institution that have issued that certificate.
Okay.
It will now serve as a deterrent to others. Until we begin to cut all of this thing from the root, it will begin to fly. And that is why sometimes when I look at the state of our educational system in Nigeria, I weep and ask, when will this change and this transformation come? But we can't fold our hands. We'll still be talking. And that's why sometimes you see that most times when I come on board, I go ahead as far as mentioning names, so that when you now feel that you are aggrieved or I have mentioned your name wrongly, you have only one opportunity. Approach the court and sue me, and let me appear before the court, and then tell the court XYZ of what I know, and then we now open investigation properly into that, and then let's see who will be dubbed and who will be judged on the matter.
All right, thank
I'll give
you.
An example.
Yeah.
I brought out an information some time ago, and a very powerful politician in Edo State, may so rest in peace, sent the message to me right in our platform. He said I will hear from him on Monday that his lawyer will take me to court, and I pleaded with him. I said, sir, I'm not asking you not to go to court. Please go to court. But when you are coming, come with 5 SAN. I, Bob Manuel Umoru, will come before the court alone without an SAN. And I told him, I said, at the end of this trial, only one person will leave the court premises smiling. I can bet you with my life that person will not be you, because you will be behind bars. And I sent a series of things that he knows and I know that he has done against the state to him, and I said, you will want the court to try this, and that ended the matter. So we begin to come out to speak, and then ask for civil sanction. These things will become prevailing issues in our society. Our people must understand that the governor, the president, the SLG, the this and that, we are all fed equal Nigerians, irrespective of your status, and have equal fundamental human rights. Nobody is above any other person in this nation. In the words of Dino Melai, no Nigerian is more Nigerian than any other Nigerian.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Manuel Umoru. We'll now open our studio line so you can also call and be part of the discussion. Please be brief and go straight to the point. I can tell you for sure that a lot of people are waiting to take their turns, and the only way we'll be able to accommodate as many people as possible is when you are brief. And then again, do not cast aspersion on anyone, and make sure you go straight to the point. Let's take our first call right now, right away. So you can dial the number on the screen. Yes, dial the number on the screen and then be part of the discussion. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and let us know where you're calling from. And for those who are listening on radio, our studio number is 080-7777-0300. I'll take that again. 080-7777-0300. That's our studio number. Dial the number right now and let's get your take. Good morning, caller. You are first caller on the program. Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Honorable Sasumo. I appreciate what you want to do.
Okay.
No, waiting the border we made in Nigeria. We may be masses, we are suffer. Not the certificate we need to talk about now. We are the bed that federal government may let everything easy for us.
Okay.
Also, our border, we put border, no people they job. If you look at it, they remove fuel subsidy, and my brother, people cannot see enter motor again. Where are we going for this country? No roads, no light, nothing. We are suffering now with the masses. Now we they put there for safe, we they let everything easy for us.
Okay.
I thought I beg with you for that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. As I say, the place that hurts you the most, that's what you carry, or you take or you place very close to the fire.
That is its own issue now.
Anyways, let's take more calls. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Jamani. I'm speaking from Airport Road.
Yes, go ahead, Gamaliel.
Yes, your analyst has spoken very well. It's very, very unfortunate. Paper qualification as to what people have upstairs. It's very, very funny. And it's ironical to that we have people who, from the party at the time have said, parties are supposed to elect the best of the best, whether for their paper qualification, whether for what they have upstairs, before they enter into an election. All these shame and disgrace we are bringing to ourselves, exposing what we do. It's already battered image that we have, battered image for other countries to see. It's very, very shameful and annoying.
Okay. All right. Thank you. 08077770300. That's the studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Good morning. Yes, good morning.
My name is Alakiri Ewusa, calling from Benin.
Alakiri, please go ahead.
Yes. I just want to say this. I think there's need for various bodies like INEC to set a standard for their various organizations.
Okay.
Like, for example, when all the various contestants submitted their various credentials,
Yes.
what is expected for INEC, for example, to have done if the various contestants have submitted, after they have submitted their credentials, they are supposed to go and verify all the credentials that they have submitted. I haven't done that. They are supposed to have gotten
Okay. Okay, the line is breaking. Can barely hear you. I'm sure that's not our own making. I hope you understand that. 08077770300. That's the studio number. Dial it and let's get your take on the program. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, please.
My name is Obioma. I'm calling from Lagos Street Market.
Go ahead, please, Obioma.
Yes, in every competition, I believe it has a rule or regulation. In boxing, they are not allowed to hit below the belt. In football, the player is not allowed deliberately to handle the ball.
Yeah.
Unless it is destroyed.
Yeah.
So also, in an election, we have the election held by an ask every contestant or candidate must submit at least secondary school certificate. But in Nigeria factor, all these things doesn't work because we can remember vividly in 2019 during the 2020 during the election of when we were contesting the certificate issue. So all of a sudden, he said his certificate is with them, and he is the commander-in-chief of Air Forces, and he cannot get his certificate. All of a sudden, they went to Ghana and begin to just dribbling everybody at the end of the day to speak on that paper that the person must only attend the constitution so you attend secondary school. Whether you pass or you pass, it doesn't matter. Can you read and write? So this is how Nigeria operates. Okay, look at the latest one. It's now happening everywhere.
Okay.
Especially in the southwest, everybody kept quiet.
Okay.
All these human rights activists, all of them get moved.
Okay.
So it seems that it is a tribal or sentimental speech. So Nigeria Bank, all this is doesn't work. Let us go to the drawing board and get it done well, and that will save us from this embarrassment. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you very much. That's a parting shot of the program today. But let me get a final word from you on the role, because this screening, I heard in time past, the UPN, for example, the elders in the party will gather. They will not just screen, but when you say screen, I mean, you're just looking at documents. They will drill those aspiring, and then they will get the best of the best. Why is this now lacking in our political parties?
Greed. I first. Professor Ambrose Ali have no mind to be a governor one day. They only went to beg him to say, please, from your track record, you can be a good material for us to win an election. Dr. Bomudia was also approached and begged, from your track record, come and be a governor for us. But today is how much do you have? Not your character, not your track record.
Okay.
So if
that's
that
what the
is
challenge
there,
is. Yeah.
that's the challenge. Because the man that have impeccable character, the man that knows the job,
may not have the money to
does
give.
not have the money.
All right, but Mama, final word from you as we call it a wrap.
Well, it's prevalent in our today's society because of in our local parlance or pidgin. We say paddy paddy, wayo wayo. So that has been the major problem. I tell you the truth. If we find ourselves in a circle where our friends, or not just friends, people we know, are to come to be screened in our presence. Before they come, you see people asking those who have set up the committee, who are the members of this committee? And you see the person who is supposed to be in trust of the party or holding that trust, divulging sensitive information about those who are members of that committee to these persons. And then these persons at one time, they will not just call, they will call those who are close to you and then send something to your account or book an appointment to meet with you.
So it's like you are talking from experience, Bob Manuel. It's like you're talking from experience.
I have been in politics actively as far back as 1998 to date. There is nothing going on in any of the political party that I am not privy to.
All right, that's the most you can have. That's the most you can take on the program, Bob Manuel. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Well, that's our program for today. Bishop Osaloche, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the program. Well, that's our program for today. But just to let our political parties know that they need to do more than they are doing now to avoid this embarrassing situation of having those presented for elected position presenting forged and fake certificates. Yes, education may not necessarily be that the person has the capacity or the competence to deliver, but we also need to look beyond that. We need to look at for people that are competent, people that have capacity to deliver and deliver well for us to move our country forward, whether in the public sector, whether in the political sector, whether in the private sector. Any leader who really wants results, when you look around the organization, you will know those who have the capacity to deliver. Go out for those people, get them involved, sway them, woo them, get them involved, and you'll get the result that you need ultimately. Many times we have too many bootlickers, naysayers, and what have you around who are just after their personal interest, and that will not augur well for the country and will not augur well for the nation. And that's our program today, Politics Today. We'll come your way same time next week on the station. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.